Hi everyone! Welcome back to my Little Bookish channel. I'm Ellie. Hello, hi, how you doing? I thought today we could do a mid-year book tag, which is always like super fun to do. So I'm just gonna go like right into it. This is the mid-year book freakout tag. So I'll have the questions in the description box below, but like let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. Okay, best book you've read so far in 2026. I tried to be really specific, and by really specific, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 books. We'll start with a book that I don't physically own, but if I ever see in the wild, I will purchase because it was incredible. It is Elena Knows by Claudia Pinheiro. I'm not gonna like provide too much detail about what these books are and my feelings towards them, because I'm gonna do, especially for my favorite books of the year, I'm gonna do a separate video. But I've heard so many good things about Elena Knows, and I randomly, spontaneously decided to pick it up on Everand. So happy that I did. This book was not what I was expecting. It's like marketed as crime fiction. No, it's much more than that. It is like a social commentary. It's about women aging, it's about women's rights to their bodies, it's about reproductive rights, it's about a mother and daughter. It's perfection. And the main character, Elena, she's the mother and she has Parkinson's disease, and her daughter, Rita, was her carer. And as someone who had a grandmother who had Parkinson's disease, and my own mother was her full-time carer, it really just, it was like it was written specifically for me. I absolutely adored that book. And then the other 3 that I do own, they're behind me. We have The Lamb by Lucy Rose. This is about a cannibalistic serial killer mother and her daughter, who also becomes a cannibal because like she's a child. It was beautiful. It was incredibly well written. I feel like I resonated I love books about feminine rage and sort of women's rage and motherhood. And the mum did not want to be a mum. She is, I think, like a sociopath, and she continues to kill. And that's that. Until poor Margot is just left realizing that her life is not typical. And it's quite sad and at times uncomfortable to read, but I loved it. I can't wait to see what Lucy Rose does next. Oh my God, the next book. Oh my God, The Entanglement of Rival Wizards by Sarah Rash. This is so good. People need to read this. This is fantastic. It is a romantasy. It's cozy. It's wonderful. It's sort of like D&D inspired, specifically like Critical Role. I loved it. I loved it. The tension, the chemistry, the story, everything about this, absolute perfection. Highly recommend. And then my last favorite book so far in 2026 is The Unicorn Hunters by Catherine Arden. Catherine Arden knows what the girlies want, and this was spectacular. It's historical fiction crossed with sort of like folklore. If you read the Winternight trilogy, like The Bear and the Nightingale and that, similar sort of vibes, but not similar in content or anything, but those vibes, very similar. I loved it so much. This was such a surprise, but also like not a surprise because it's Catherine Arden. So hopefully she continues to write more similar to this, because this is what I want. I love this so much. It's so good. Oh my God. So that's question 1. Question 2. Worst book you've read so far in 2026. Okay. The ones that I don't have. Well, the one that I don't have. The Secret of Secrets by Dan Brown. I read this book for the fun. And I mean, I love the Robert Langdon series in the same way that I love the Fast and the Furious movie franchise. They're ridiculous and stupid, but I can't get enough of it. Like, the writing is horrible, the characters are horrible, everything is horrible, but obsessed. Do you know what I mean? So I read the Robert Langdon series like that. So when this came out, I was like, yeah, I'll get to it. And then I finally put the book on hold after Hannah read it, and she's like, it's a good time, I guess. And I put it as like the worst book because it is objectively not a good book. The entire plot doesn't make sense. The plot happens because a CIA agent overreacts and is dramatic. That's basically what happened. Robert Langdon actually doesn't really do anything to propel the plot or the story forward at all. It's a bit of a nothing burger of a book, and it should not have been over 600 pages. It was stupid, but I ate that shit up. I won't lie. And then I think the only other book that I would necessarily call the worst book of the year so far is this one. This is The Scorpion and the Night Blossom by Amelie Wen-Zhao. I hated this book so much. It was so bad. There was so much potential in the beginning of this, which, like, that's how it sucks you in. And then it just kind of becomes stupid. The main character, I forgot her name, she never does things by herself. And by that I mean she always has to be saved by a man. She literally has no point or purpose at all. And the only interesting character in this is like the villain, which is not really the villain, it's like the dude who's supposed to be, you know, what's his name? A rival contestant who is essentially like the villain's son or something. He's like the only really sort of interesting character, but again, he doesn't really get much of anything. And I think this ended with the most weirdest ending. At the end, she gets with this other guy who's like the adopted son of the goddess who is her mother. Like an arranged situation. You know, obviously, I don't think he's endgame, but at the same time, I just don't care. I just felt like this was just a bit shit. For my personal humble tastes, obviously. It also leaned more towards YA, in my opinion. Especially because the main character was a bit of an idiot. Okay, that's that. The next question is best sequel you've read so far in 2026. I mean, so I finally read Platform Decay by Martha Wells, which is the latest installment in like the Murderbot Diaries. Loved it. 5 stars. Impeccable. Murderbot and I were besties. Okay, I would do anything for Murderbot. And Platform Decay was just a really nice installment. I love where the story is going. I could be in this world for the next 20 years. Just being a part of Murderbot and Art's life, really, that's all I would like. That's all I would like to do, is just be in this world with them. So this was really fun to read, and I love Martha Wells and I love Murderbot. So this was obviously a standout. And then we have the third and last book in this series that I forget the name of. Anyway, it's by India Holton. It's The Antiquarian's Object of Desire. I think this is my favorite book in this series. It was just perfection. For the first time, it felt like we had a sort of relationship between two people who were actually friends, like quite close friends, prior to the book. They'd been friends for a while and they fall in love, and it's just the tension, the chemistry. India Holton is that girl. She knows exactly what we want to read. It is fun, it's funny, adorable, all the adjectives, all the positive ones. Oh my God. So this is Archangel's Eternity by Nalini Singh. If you don't know, I love Nalini Singh. the Guild Hunter series, which this book is a part of, and the Psy Changeling / Psy Changeling Trinity series are two of my favourite series of all time. I've been reading these since I was a teenager, really, and I love them. This is the final book in the Guild Hunter series. I died. It was so good. It was so wonderful. And I think Nalini Singh tried to give us as much as she could in one book. So there are a few like time jumps, but I didn't mind. I really didn't mind. I actually loved it because I wanted to see more of everyone and I wanted to see how things happened. And it was so bittersweet, but so heartwarming, and I love them. If you don't know about this series, I highly recommend that you have a look. It is a large series, it takes commitment, but it's a paranormal romance series. But the world building, the plot arcs, it's like high fantasy levels of complex. So I just, yeah, it's about vampires and archangels and angels and the people who hunt them. It's just great. It can be quite political at times, but there's always a happy ever after. Well, at the end. So it's just gorgeous. My brother came and we started talking, so I completely forgot where I was. Okay, and then the last best sequel that I read in 2026 so far, Ship of Destiny, which is book 3 in the Live Ship Traders trilogy. And what a book. What a book, what a series. Okay, this is part of the realm of the Elderlings. It was amazing, fantastic. No notes, really, no notes. So the next question is worst sequel you've read so far in 2026, but I haven't read a worst sequel, but I thought I'll change this to like some disappointing reads. And I've got a couple. The first one that I don't have with me because I've given it away is Agnes Orbert's cat thing, I don't know, whatever it's called, by Heather Fawcett. I should have known about this book. Didn't like it. I felt it was pointless. It was pointless. Didn't like it. There was potential. Nothing happened. I didn't like it. Super disappointing. The other two books that were disappointing, I read The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. I thought this was going to be infinitely more better than it was. It was actually kind of annoying how disappointing it was. Just lean into it being supernatural. Lean into that. Like anything else is boring. So this was annoying. It was annoying, I'm sorry to say. The other one, I spontaneously purchased this book because the premise sounded quite darling. It was Books and Bewitchment by Isla Jewell. You know, 3 sisters, we are with the oldest sister. The grandmother dies, leaves her shops. She decides to open a bookshop, but they're witches. It started off really good and then nothing. It's marketed as like a rom-com. No, the romance is so in the periphery that at times it's practically non-existent. So I was disappointed in this. I don't think I would continue on with this series, but in saying that, it is a debut, so who knows. The next question is new releases you haven't read yet but want to. Okie dokes. Okay. I think the one that's on everyone's radar and therefore on mine is Yesteryear by Caro Claire Burke. I really want to read this. My dog is whining in the background. He wants a treat. I am so intrigued by this book. However, I didn't want to read it until people stopped talking about it because for some reason my brain was like, no, I don't know. It kind of just wanted to be rebellious for some particular reason. But I have to read this soon. I'm hopefully going to be able to reading it with Hannah. Can't wait for that. The next one is Vow of Eternal Night by Lily Crozier. This is a vampire romance. I just want to read it. I want to read it. It sounds really good. And I got this beautiful edition with sprayed edges. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Oh my God, it's also signed. Did I always know that? Anyway, so excited about vampire romance. What else do I have? Oh yes, so I've got my notes. I am currently reading Reservoir Bitches by this author, and this came out this year, which is Medea Sangmi Corrido. And I just thought that this sounded really good. Feminine rage, about women, women's wrongs. I'm here for it. And then the last sort of new release that I haven't read yet is this one, which is Hexes of the Deadwood Forest by Agnieszka Spieler. Should I show the cover? I shouldn't show the cover. But anyway, this book sounds absolutely batshit insane. So I would really like to get to this in the latter half of the year. So that's the plan. Next question is biggest surprise of the year. Queer Principles of Kit Webb by Kat Sebastian. I loved this book. And it surprised me because I just never anticipated it to be so fun and so wonderful and to bring me so much joy reading it. Like, I was on the train kind of like giggling and going, you know what I mean? So this just brought me a lot of joy. I really want to read more from Kat Sebastian. And I think I've got 2 books on hold at the library because so good. And the next book, this was a huge surprise because I read, what's her previous book? Yeah, Daughter of the Moon Goddess by this author, Su Lin Tan, which I did not like. So when I read this, I read it because it sounded good. And I'm like, we'll see. Oh my God, did not anticipate anything that happened. I didn't anticipate the twist of this. It was so good. Immortal by Su Lin Tan. It was so good. It was wonderful. Highly recommend. It was just kind of precious. The world building was good, but it was mostly the romance. It was fun to read. So this was also quite a large surprise, actually. I love when books surprise me, though. Okay, the next question. Favorite new author? I have a rule that an author isn't a favorite until I've given 3 books of theirs 5 stars. So, but books that are like authors that are on my radar now, obviously Claudia Pinheiro, Lucy Rose, author of The Lamb, and Sarah Rash, who wrote The Entanglement of Rival Wizards. On my radar, would like automatically buy a book from them. Question 9 is newest fictional crush, but I'm not going to answer that. Book 10. Question 10, books that made me cry. Any book in the Murderbot Diaries. I also reread the Green Creek series by TJ Klune. That always makes me cry. I love the relationships in that series. And obviously, Elena Knows by Claudia Pinheiro. Sobbed. I sobbed with that book. It really hit me in the heart, I must say. Question 11 is book that made you happy. And I have to say, like the books that I've said sort of prior, The Entanglement of Rival Wizards, ate that shit. Ate it up. Loved it so much. The Murderbot Diaries overall is like perfection. Love them also. They bring me so much joy. And The Queer Principles of Kit Webb. I had fun reading. You know, this year has like, I'm having fun, which I love. It's what we want. The most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. I mean, I showed it before, but it's this incredible Fairy Loot edition of The Unicorn Hunters. I mean, are you joking? Look, it's so stunning. Absolutely stunning. Like, I actually pre-ordered this book as a paperback And I didn't realise, obviously, that this was coming in Fairy Loot. When it came in my Fairy Loot box, I cried. I actually cried because I'm like, this is the most beautiful book that I own. Oh, it's so good. I love it so much. That's the most beautiful book potentially ever in my collection. Okay, the last question. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? Oh, what a question. I'm just going to talk about the 1, 2, 3, 4 that I would really like to get to. Obviously, Yesteryear. I need to read this. I need to read it. I'm so excited for it now. I had to wait a little bit for the excitement to come. I also desperately want to read The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. I've heard the best things about this book, so I would like to get to this. However, for some reason in my brain, I can't read this until I've read Starling House, because for some reason I have to read things in publication order, even if they have nothing to do with each other. But I will eventually get to this. The book that I'm most embarrassed about not having read, Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. I love the runes. Okay, I've given every book from her 5 stars because they've each scratched an itch in their own way. They're different, but they're similar at the same time. And I think I've just felt so much pressure on myself to read this book and to love it. So I would like to read this and just kind of pretend that it's not written by Sally Rooney and just see how I enjoy myself. I think I'm just adding a lot of pressure because Sally Rooney is one of my favorite authors. But yeah, I would really like to read Intermezzo. And the sort of last book that I really, really, really want to get to is ginormous. I read The Will of the Many last year and it was fucking amazing. I love James Islington. James Islington. I don't know how to pronounce his last name because I've heard it pronounced in various ways. Apologies. But I love his writing. I read, is it the Licarius trilogy? Licarius. Blew my mind. It was so good. It was so good. And then when The Will of the Many came out, I buddy read that with Georgie and Danny and it was so fucking good. It was amazing. And this is just waiting on my shelf to be read. I haven't read it and I really want to. But it's just with work and everything at the moment, I just don't have capacity. So I'm hoping that towards the end of the year, I'm able to get to this because I feel as though I will have more capacity either in the early weeks of September when my students are on placement or in the sort of November, December period, maybe potentially December period because November will be marking. I need time to be with this book. That's what I would like to do. Anyway, that is the end of our time together today. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope that was fun. I love talking about books. I love talking about reading. I love it, love it, love it. And I think what I'm going to do soon, the next couple of weeks, is make a video about my favorite books of the year so far overall and talk about some stats, how many 5 stars I've read, some honorable mentions, etc. Does that sound good? Anyway, this is the first time I've done a proper sit down. Love it. I'm going to go now because I'm actually quite hungry. I will see you in the next one, whenever that may be. Hopefully next week, hopefully maybe the week after. Not too sure yet of my schedule, if it's going to be weekly or fortnightly. It just depends on my work. But I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. Stay safe. And yeah, bye friends. I now need to put all these books away. Oh my God.